Hello, Paul again here from EMD Automotive at Canberra, Sydney. Just want to show you guys what we're doing today. That's the release there. That's a fork release for your clutch, like that. So we put a bit of tape there. See the tape, the black tape there? The reason why we put the black tape around the fork onto the clutch plate, pressure plate, like that. The reason why we do it so we can actually move the gearbox around, so to actually go past the little sleeve here at the bottom there. It's really hard to see, but what I'm going to show you, if you look inside here, maybe the other side you can see more. See that? There's a little bearing, needle rollers inside there, and you got to line up the fork with those little holes there. So let me see the needle bearing there on the gearbox housing. You gotta line up the fork with the actual plastic sleeve bushing together. You gotta line them all up by putting the gearbox properly in, so you gotta miss it. So what we're doing, we're putting the gearbox in and lining up this part here so it goes through the middle of the gearbox, so we can put the rod in. That rod is going to go through a hole here. I'll show you now. You see that hole there? I've got to line up the gearbox housing hole, which is that one there, with the clutch fork hole, which has got the plastic housing in white there, sort of brown, light brown there. Once you line them all up, then you've got to put that rod in there, straight in, and then lock it all up using a 10mm bolt on this side here. Alright, so that's what we're doing. So the best way to do it, I found, is put the gearbox all the way in, line it up, and actually just doing it up. Put one nut on top there and one nut at the bottom here, and use those two to actually pull the gearbox in. But the thing is, you've got to actually push the gearbox all the way in until you have a little gap that much before you do that. You don't use it when the gearbox is out to pull the gearbox in. Alright, I'm only doing this so I can show you a very easy way to do it. And a rule of thumb, if you're doing this bolt up on any kind of gearbox, doesn't matter what it is, when it comes to manual gearbox, if you're doing up the gearbox bolts and the gearbox is very hard, it's very hard for the bolt to actually pull the gearbox in, stop, move the gearbox not in properly. The gearbox is already in already, but I just want to show you, if you get stuck, you can do it this way, and that way you can actually see it lining up. That's why I wanted to actually do it this way. So we're going to use the two nuts, one at the bottom, one on top, to pull the gearbox in to the engine. At the same time, I want to show you guys how it lines up. Alright, so I'm going to go now. So my friend one of the mechanic will do the top one, and I'm doing the bottom one. I'll go 1, 2, yep. And slowly you see line up. Okay, so I know the gearbox is nice and flush now. If you look at the gearbox and the engine, that part there is flush onto the engine now, this one here. So what we're going to do now is take the little tape off. So we're going to grab my hand there and then just pull the tape off. The tape is off. So you can see inside here. What you can do now is actually put your hand inside here and line it up. Alright. Make sure that that's on already. So don't pull up too hard, otherwise it will come off. So now what I'll do is line up like that. See the hole there? Line that all up by use your hand on top here, and then go back the other way. I have to go this way so it's easier to see. Once you line them all up, then you push this in, take that rod there, pull it all the way in. The main important things you gotta know is you gotta look at the clutch, make sure that part is on the actual, make sure it's on here, like that. Sorry, it's very hard to actually do this with one hand, but once you line it up, put the rod in like I'm gonna do now. There you go. So all you gotta do is, like I said to you, sorry, I've got to put different angle, I couldn't do it with one hand, but all you gotta do is, like I said to you, pull the fork up, line up the hole, and all you gotta do is push it all the way in. That's it. Once it's all the way in, that's pretty much it. Then you gotta take this off, take it off, and that's it. Make sure you have a little nut there to hold it on. So you take it off and it looks like that. So now we've got to put a little plastic sleeve in now, but before you do that, most important thing to do now is not this, is actually get a rag and push a rag inside that hole there first. Very important, this step here, because if you drop this, then you've got to take the whole gearbox out again. So just give me a clean one. So put a rag in here, just like that. Does have to be just to take on the, so that when you put it on, there's a special tool to use this on from Porsche, but you can just use a little I think an 8mm socket. Find a socket that fits through here a little tightly, and then you just use that to push it in. See the gap in there? There's a gap between the actual, if you look closely here, see how it's in now, the little sleeve is inside the gearbox housing. Once you see a gap there, once it's deep, the little sleeve is like the rod is always all the way in, then you know 100% you know it's in anyway. And the best way to check it is grab this and go like that. And you know this part has to go in halfway in, sorry. And then you gotta get the little bracket that goes there, on this side here, and goes onto the 10mm there to actually hold it in place. Alright, so not sure if this video can help you guys, but I'm just trying my best to do it at the same time doing the job. But thanks for watching, and please, I'll actually, let me pause it, then I'll show you when I put it in, when I finish it. So put some 10mm socket, something like that, that's flexible, and then put some grease in it, so just to hold it in place. And all you're doing is pushing it in like this into the hole, like that, and then try to actually push it in with the actual. After you put that in, the little plastic in like that, use a 10mm with a long extension, just like that here, and tap it in until once it stops. That's pretty much it. Can't go anywhere. It's only to hold it in, and then you gotta use this one here now. This one goes in like that. Make sure you put the rag back in again before, otherwise something will fall in and you'll pretty much have to remove everything out. Alright, so we'll do that now. Alright, if you look closely now, have a look at that. That's on there, that's on there. See, the angle bit goes down to the actual, the lower bit goes to the actual clutch fork, and the hole is the higher bit. If you put it the other way around, it wouldn't work. So now we're going to put the 10mm bolt in, torque it up to 10mm, and then you're pretty much done. Alright, as you can see, now that's how it should look like. Alright, there you go. 10mm on, that's on. Torque that one up to 10 Newton-meters, and after that, assemble the rest. See, now you can see how it looks like. You can move this up, left and right, nothing happened. Check to make sure it's all good, double check everything, and pretty much after that you gotta put on this one here. Torque that one up to 10 Newton-meters, and then make sure you put this one on. It's very important. If I can find out which way it goes, this way, like that. And after that, start putting everything back together. Alright, I hope this video will help somebody out there. and that's how you actually put the actual release fork rod into the actual GT3 gearbox, GT2 RS 993 in the old style. They pretty much kept the same system all the way through on a manual gearbox. Alright, thanks for watching and please subscribe.